I love poring over the adverts on the car websites and love seeing what I can afford. I'm often found looking at things that I can't afford and trying to do mathematics in my head about how I could get there if I sold a lung or a foot or something and then robbed a bank. I can't be alone in this, so today I'm going to take you on 3 journeys. Let's pretend, or maybe it's not pretense in your world, that you want a Porsche, but you only have $10,000 or $15,000 or $25,000 and see what's out there together. What do these 3 amounts get you these days? Well, I have created a mega database and have entered all the Porsches on the market up to $25,000 into a spreadsheet. I picked a well-known car aggregator website and literally keyed them all in. Yes, it took forever. Yes, never let it be said that I don't go the extra mile for you guys. Now, in order to make this hypothetical car something worth owning, let's not include the obviously crashed cars requiring a rebuild, nor any cars with over 100,000 miles. Porsches that cost less than $10,000 are always projects to an extent. So even though it's crude, let's do it anyway so we don't spend a disproportionate amount of time on cars that are probably not the greatest examples of their mark, and just to save a bit of time. I've also taken out any cars that don't have pictures, or any that don't have a price or mileage showing, or any that say coming soon. I'm not sure about you, but I wouldn't want to pursue any of those cars, so we should take them out of our search. So what I'm going to do is start with the $0 to $10,000 range and see what that gives us, and I will take you through the models and then pick the cheapest car and what I think is the best car in the range. Then we'll add $5,000 to the kitty and see what extra that gives us. And again, I will pick 2 cars, and finally we will add yet another $10,000 to see what 25 grand buys us here in the US. And I will pick another 2 cars, and by the end you'll have a really good grip on where the market is in December 2020 and what you can expect for your money. If you're watching along in another country, then this might be interesting just to see what we're paying over here. Anyway, let's start. So you have $10,000 to spend. What does your universe of cars look like? Well, here you go. You have 57 cars available. Honestly, I'm quite impressed with what $10,000 gets you. There's a really good choice of some quite nice cars. Of course, you need to go into this part of the market with your eyes open and looking for salvage titles and crashed or project cars. But nevertheless, $10,000 is a realistic price point for Porsche ownership. No, you're not into 911 territory just yet, but you are well within the realms of 6-cylinder Boxster ownership and maybe even an S. There is in fact a solitary 914 in there too from 1971 with its 110 bhp 4-cylinder motor. The biggest selection here though is the 986 Boxster. That came with a 2.5 litre engine up to the year 2000, where it was changed for a 2.7 for base models and a 3.2 for the S models. The 2.5 engine gives you 201 bhp, which is plenty to enjoy the wind in your hair for such little cost. With 10k you are not quite into post 2002 facelift Boxsters with their clear front indicator lenses and glass rear window, but the choice here is pretty good for your money. You also get a choice of 11 first generation Cayennes. Not everyone's cup of tea for sure, but not a bad car by any means. At this level you are looking at something towards the upper end of our 100,000 mileage limit. Lastly, the transaxle models, or rather the 924, 944, 968 and 928 models. You're not in 968 territory at this price point, but you can get the others. The 924 is unloved and I never know why. It's really fun, small sports car for very little money. It's actually the cheapest Porsche on the market here. Take a look. I think I might swerve that particular car, but it's a lot of car for the money, and if you know your way around a car with a set of spanners or wrenches, you could have a lot of fun for not much risk. I suppose it's easier to discount it when you can get a much more powerful 6-cylinder Boxster, and maybe that's the reason why they are a bit ignored, and probably why I wouldn't buy the early 70s cars, which only had 110 bhp. However, 10,000 could buy you a post-1986 S model with a bit more respectable 140 bhp, Or, moving on, a 944 with 143 bhp. But wait, because here is my pick of the $10,000 price point. For $8,900, you can buy a 5-litre 288 bhp 1986 Porsche 928S. Take a look at this baby. Just 53,000 miles, and it looks to be in respectable condition too. The interior is a bit, well, brown, but for that money, who cares? It's very tempting, isn't it? V8 Porsche power for less than $9,000. Onwards we go then to Journey 2, and we throw another $5,000 into our pot and stretch ourselves up to the $15,000 price point. This view includes all the cars in the $10,000 range, plus the cars between that and $15,000. So you have the whole view of what's available to you for $15,000. Your universe expanded from 57 cars to 164 cars, and we have a new model available for you, the 987 Boxster. Of course, the more money you have to spend, the more choice you generally get. You only get 6 987 Boxsters to choose from, but take a look at this one with just 65,000 miles on it. The 987 Boxsters did away with the fried egg headlights completely and have a much prettier look about them in my opinion. This one has the 2.7 litre 236 bhp 6-cylinder engine and a manual gearbox for just under our $15,000 limit. Looks pretty tidy, doesn't it? Your choice isn't limited to 987s though. The post-2002 facelifted cars of 986s are more widely available to you with their translucent headlights, and a good few of those with less than 40,000 miles too. The case for a 924 or 944 is a harder one to make when the choice of Boxsters is so good, but nevertheless you get the choice of nearly all the cars on the market at this price point. Perhaps a snazzy 944 then. Well, actually the cheapest car in our $10,000 to $15,000 range is actually a 928. Take a look here, 82,000 miles, and again, quite brown, but if you want to put your head just above the $10,000 parapet, then for $10,495, this is a lot of car, and one I'd be looking at, to be honest. So these are the two car picks from the $10,000 to $15,000 range then, being the cheapest and my pick of the bunch. Seriously tempting. I might have to stop soon or I'll start making phone calls myself and then it's all over. But before I do, let's take one last journey and really stretch ourselves up to $25,000. 427 cars available to you now. That's a ton of choice, and 3 new models enter your car shopping universe. The Cayman, the 968, and now that you are over $15,000, you can get yourself into a 911. Having been in this market this year, I can tell you that the choice isn't as good as when I started looking about a year ago. I'm not sure what has happened under COVID-19, but in lieu of having vacations, people seem to have been indulging their car fantasies and the values of cars have gone up. I suppose I was one of them, and I went one stage further and started a YouTube channel too. Anyway, I'll start with the cheapest car over the $15,000 floor, which is this 996 convertible Tiptronic car with 95,000 miles or so. You'll know, of course, that I've done many videos on my own 996, including how to buy these cars and what to look for. And there's a link above for you to click on, so remember to do your checks on these cars and make sure you understand whether the IMS bearing has been replaced and there are no leaks or ticking noises of the engine on tickover. I have to tell you the same goes for any 986 or 987 Boxsters as well. Same engine, M96, M97 engines, very prone to the same issues as the 911 because it's the same engine. At this price point, the choice is nearly all convertible for the 911, but there are some coupes, and they're not all automatic too. If posing in the sun with your roof down, cruising along, allowing the car to change gears isn't your thing. Think carefully too, if a Cayman is really what you want, you'll pay 10% more for the hardtop Cayman over the Boxster, and the average mileage is higher too, and for my money, with that engine under the glass and right behind you as opposed to being outside of the car and behind you on the 996, it's a bit noisy for me and I'd prefer the Boxster myself. Unbelievably, there are a few people charging more than 15k for some 924s and 944s. You've got to be a big fan of those to pay that. But the one I would give serious consideration to is the last iterations of those models, the 968. These are very well regarded, and you can spend upwards of 75 grand for a good club sport. At this more humble level though, you have a choice of 3 cars, 2 convertibles and an automatic coupe. I like them a lot, I must say. I think they look cool and modern enough with the edges of the 944 rounded off, and plenty fast enough with a 3-litre inline-4 engine pushing out 237 bhp. The gearboxes are also new for the model and not the same as the 944. A very chuckable car and great fun. Have a look at this coupe, which I think looks the business. But what is my pick of the $25,000 price point? Well, before I get to these, I am going to give honourable mention to this lovely Cayenne Turbo. When I say lovely, of course, that is to my eyes. It's been wrapped in this sky blue colour and is actually a black car. But this is a great car for the money, 450 bhp and a lovely turbo V8. You could be very happy in that, and you won't even have used up all of your 25k budget either. But here is my pick. I would investigate if I had 25k again. For me, it has to be the iconic 911, and the one with the lowest mileage I could find too. Here it is, a 2000 996 convertible with a manual gearbox and only 27,000 miles for just $21,000. Remember, we are just doing a search from our computers here, and I haven't actually been to see any of these cars. But this looks like the best one on the market. Given I was in this market not so long ago and picked a 996, you might have expected me to choose this. And I did, but I hope in this video you've seen a good range of Porsches that, right from the bottom of the price range, are pretty enticing. Honestly, I'm still thinking about that 9K 928 now. Thanks so much for watching my channel. I really appreciate it. If you like this kind of content, please obliterate that like button and consider subscribing. Also, please don't be shy about telling me in the comments what you think, because that's how I improve and push content to you that you'd like to see more of, and stop doing things that you don't like. For now though, I'll see you soon.